job of moving the ball around.
Nice job of moving the basketball and moving their players. They do a good job of playing really hard on the offensive and defensive end, too.
10 on the shot clock. Drake. Runner won't go. Tompkins with a rebound. 1 and out for the Blazers. Georgia will try to cash in offensively and get the lead back to single digits. Errant pass picked off by Johnson. Another turnover for Georgia. Three-pointer and a foul. Jamar Sanders was hit by Travis Leslie. 3 free throws for Sanders.
First of all, if you're Georgia, you have to take what the defense gives you. You can't force the basketball. It's a terrible thought on that pass down there to the basket that got turned over. Then you turn around and come down and foul the three-point shooter. Those two don't mix. You can't make it doing that. So you throw the basketball to the open man, not the one that you think is open, the one that is open. And that is the key. I know Dean Smith used to talk about that all the time. People would laugh and say, throw the ball to the open man. Everybody should know that, but they don't. They try to throw the basketball to the guy they think is open, and he's not open, and that's what happened in Georgia's case there. And then they turn around and come back and foul the three-point shooter in a basketball game. In these first 3 minutes was sort of going Georgia's way a little bit. At least they were getting back in it, and they make 2 silly mistakes, one on both ends.
Travis Leslie, who fouled the three-point shooter. Jamar Sanders, who hits all 3 of his free throws, goes to the bench. Drazen Slavarich comes in. Sanders now has 6, and what was an initial good start to the second half for the Bulldogs has taken a step back.
It really has.
Nice pass for Tompkins underneath, who converts the basket. Trey Tompkins' first basket of the second half, his second basket of the night. Again, makes it a 12-point game. Tompkins with a steal.
Trying to make the impossible pass. Both teams did. Actually, Georgia got through with it. But AJ came down here for the Blazers. And
Trey Tompkins has been quiet for much of the night, but he's making noise now.
Yeah, he's done a little bit better. He's not a real aggressive, tough kid. He needs to get a little tougher. He was on the United States United States team 19 and under this summer. He's a good basketball player, just needs to get a little tougher.
Cleaning a wet spot. You can see that Tom Eads does it all. He's cleaning it up. Trey Tompkins has been averaging over 19 points per game this season. Had just 2 points in the first half, and if the Bulldogs are going to climb back into this thing, he's going to have to carry it.
Yeah, he's got to play. He's got to play hard. There's not any substitute this game for not playing hard. You got to play hard.
$17 minutes to play. Tompkins on the drive, the dish to Barnes. Foul.
Yeah, let me tell you something. That's real skill right there. 6'10" guy takes the basketball in the lane, takes a look at somebody a little bit lower than he is, and passes the basketball to him. He's skilled. They close in on him. He takes a good look, and they end up going to the foul line. So that's a little bit better on his part. He's playing a little bit more aggressive, a little harder, and I know that Mark, who's an excellent basketball coach, is going to make this guy play a little bit harder as the season goes along.
Tompkins takes a seat. Jeremy Price comes in, and Chris Barnes at the free throw line in the first 2 games of the season was 3 for 11 from the free throw line. Tonight, he's 3 for 3.
You know, you talked about the success that Mark Fox has had over the past several years at Nevada, and a lot of people wonder why Georgia hired him. I think he's a really good hire. I think he's going to do a really good job for that basketball program. They just have to give him time.
Georgia applying pressure now, making it tough for the Blazers. Johnson breaks the pressure. Crawford, 3. So Howard Crawford answers with a 3-point shot. He now has 7. Blazers lead back to 13. Jeremy Price in the middle. Now Zlavarich.
Good defensive effort by UAB here. Really good aggressive defense without the foul.
8 on the shot clock. Zlavarich, two-pointer. That's a two-point shot. Draws in Zlavarich, first basket of the game.
Here's a little zone press or a little pressure press at the 10-second line, a little bit like UAB did against Georgia the first half.
Cooper inside, wild shot. Price tried to save it. Howard Crawford with a shot from the outside. Georgia tries to make a run, but Crawford and the Blazers again have an answer, which is why they lead by 11 here in Birmingham. Paul Crane, Wim Sanderson, producer-director Roger Roebuck, and our CSS crew. Georgia's first ever non-conference game in the state of Alabama has them trailing by 11. They picked a tough place to come, Coach, because the Blazers have won 24 consecutive non-conference games at home as Charles Barkley is in the house.
Yeah, I'm sure Charles is here. I saw him the other night. Yeah, there he is. He's up there. I don't think he's missed any meals, but he's sitting right up there.
Well, in terms of the non-conference games, in all games over the last 2 years, the Blazers are 28-2 at home. And look at the exclamation point by Howard Crawford.
They got the basketball to the baseline, and they slashed that basketball right down to the middle, and that was a killer for them.
So that gets the crowd on its feet a little bit. Price on the baseline, fouled before he made his move. But we talked about Howard Crawford hitting the three-pointer, Coach, but he looked even more impressive inside.
Here's your baseline pass, and then your pass to the middle from the baseline. The area was wide open, and very good pass, very good shot.
Kenneth Cooper, the foul for UAB.
The one thing that people need to understand, kids that are playing the game, is that the dribble
Wild
needs
shot
to take you somewhere. You don't take the basketball and just dribble out here. You let it take you somewhere. In this particular case here, he tried to force it a little bit, but he didn't have a whole lot. Got the foul by the block there, but I think it's important for kids to understand that the dribble is an offensive weapon, but it's the most misused offensive weapon in the game of basketball.
The foul called on George Drake. That's his third. It's UAB's fifth foul. Less than 5 minutes into the second half. That could become a factor as Georgia tries to climb back, but Jeremy Price misses the first of two, and Georgia, trailing by 13, cannot afford to leave points at the free throw line.
Oh, they got, if it's going to be 5 fouls at the end of 5 minutes, they need to make the free throws.
Price makes the second. Georgia's put itself in position to mount a comeback if they get to score a few points without the clock moving. UAB with the ball and now under 15 minutes to play in the game. Johnson in no hurry. Screen set by Cooper. Johnson backs off, 8 on the shot clock. Sanders spinning. Open three-pointer is good. Hit by Crawford. Outside, inside, then outside again. Quick turnaround by Leslie is wild. Run down by Johnson. Nobody on the break with him, so he backs up. Johnson all alone. Misses the three. That's Jackson underneath, the only 4-year senior on the Bulldog team. Under 14 minutes to play. Leslie caught at the free throw line inside to Jackson, who gets his first basket of the night.
Good screen. UAB switched, and they got a little man on the big man at the basket. Switch situation there. You got to get on the top of those screens in there. You can't have a mismatch.
Georgia needs a defensive stop. Cooper clears some room. Foul called underneath. Cooper was throwing some elbows, but he's fouled by Albert Jackson.
Good
Crawford outside.
There. Yeah, it was a good shot there by taking the basketball inside and kicking it out. And then here's a situation where they got out a mismatch, and they had little AJ trying to guard a guy down there 6'5", and he couldn't do it.
Albert Jackson called for that foul, his third.
Mismatches sometimes are overrated, but in that situation there, it's not, because you certainly got a real chance to score down there deep, and Georgia did that.
So Cooper gets the second. 14-point lead for UAB. McPhee puts the brakes on. Time will become of the essence for the Bulldogs shortly. They need to take care of the ball and take advantage of their possessions. Dustin Ware inside. That was nice. UAB has answered everything all night. Blocked by Tompkins. Loose ball picked up by the Dogs. Johnson hustling on the defensive end. Tried to get it back for the Blazers, but it'll be Georgia ball. Nice pass inside to Dustin Ware.
Good offensive cut, and the offensive player got inside of the defensive player. The defensive player doesn't want that. He needs to get between the receiver and the ball, and he ended up getting on the backside. Here you see a good screen on the perimeter. There's a big man on the perimeter himself.
Trey Tompkins driving to the basket. Offensive foul. For Tompkins, it's his second. But when it comes to scowls and looks, it's probably his fourth or fifth.
Well, Trey Tompkins used his elbow, I guess, in trying to make that move, and it was called on. So,
well, he was trying to be more aggressive. You talked about that, but that wasn't the way to execute
well,
it.
no, he needs to maybe post up a little bit more.
Tough inside, almost Jamar Sanders. He was fouled and will go to the line. But again, UAB remains aggressive at both ends of the floor.
I think the big thing for Georgia to get back in this basketball game is just to be a little bit more patient offensively, get a little bit more spacing. You know, one of the big things in basketball is the distance between the 5 players. Spacing is so important because it gives you such a better opportunity to move, gives you more room. And the spacing for Georgia needs to be improved a little bit. UAB spacing is not bad. They're pretty wide, cutting pretty good, but at times Georgia's spacing gets a little bit too tight.
Well, Jamar Sanders had struggled a little bit at the free throw line in the early part of the season. He's a perfect 5 of 5 tonight.
Good defensive pressure.
Swatted out of bounds by Sanders. And again, aggressiveness at the offensive end, aggressiveness at the defensive end. And UAB still has its foot on the throat of the Georgia Bulldogs. It's UAB's home opener here in Birmingham, and they've got a 14-point lead on the Georgia Bulldogs. And, Coach, the Blazers have done it at both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively.
Well, they certainly have. Here's a baseline pass to the middle for an easy shot. And, of course, Georgia comes back, tries to get something, doesn't. Good dribble drive inside, kick back to the three-point shooter. He drills it. Georgia... not as good offensively in the second half as they were the last part of the first half.
With Mike Davis getting a lot of Howard Crawford, who had that huge dunk and then the three-point shot. He's got to hit a couple of three-pointers here in the second half. And Georgia's shooting percentage may be better by the numbers overall in the second half as Tompkins misses the long three. Great save by Leslie. But UAB continues to have an... You can see referee Patrick Adams over at the officials' table. They're trying to check the substitutions if they were done properly. We'll make sure everybody is on the floor who should be on the floor. They're also perhaps trying to figure out the foul was on. There is some confusion over who's going to get the ball.
This is a time in the game where Georgia, actually before this time, it's a 1-and-1, Paul.
So that means the foul was on Jamar Sanders. That puts UAB over the limit. Georgia shoots 1-and-1. So instead of taking the ball out on the baseline, initially there was confusion over perhaps Jeremy Price was called for the foul. He's the one who is fouled and will go to the line, where he's 1 of 2 on the night.
You know, Georgia's got to come down and make the defense. They've got plenty of time, make the defense work a little bit rather than quick shooting it. I know Mark Fox has told his team that. Sometimes you just don't always do what you need to do.
Well, this is
back in this basketball game.
Important element for Georgia if they're going to come back with the clock not running, already in the bonus.
That's exactly right. And they got, Mike's team got some quick fouls early, and this is a chance for Georgia to, make a game out of this thing if they'll come down and be smart with it.
So Price hits them both. We have a 13-point game. Aaron Johnson tries to set his offense as we approach the 9.5-minute mark here in the second half. Blazers, no surprise, content to now be patient with the ball on the offensive end. 10 on the shot clock. Three-pointer, picked off by Price. It was touched. Keeping that from being a goaltend, a groan from the crowd. Mayfield to the basket. Freshman DeMario Mayfield with his first basket as a collegian. And Mike Davis wants timeout as the lead has been cut to 11. DeMario Mayfield's first college basket has made it an 11-point game. Paul Crane, Wimp Sanderson, and our CSS crew here in Birmingham, where UAB has an 11-point lead midway through the second half. And basketball fans need to check out Talkin' Hoops on CSS. It's starting in December. An exciting, in-depth look at college basketball from top-notch experts who know the game the best. Stay on the ball with Talkin' Hoops, and it's coming your way in December only on CSS.
Team fouls 7-4, so Georgia has a chance now to get something done, and UAB's a long way from going to the line 1-1. We'll just see if they can get back in this basketball game.
Approaching 8.5 minutes to play in the game. Little turnaround by Howard Crawford, who has been red hot here in the second half. That's 10 points in the second half, 14 in the game. Pressure. Price has it slapped away by Sanders. And timeout called and granted for Georgia. Well, almost had a costly turnover there.
They were about to lose possession of the ball, and quickly coach called timeout because there were some problems in the backcourt. Basketball comes into the block area right before this, and UAB gets an easy shot against that zone defense. They didn't do a good job offensively. Defensively, you've got to protect the inside defensively.
But there was Jeremy Price standing with the ball and not paying attention to Aaron Johnson, who slapped it out of his hands back in his own end. That was almost a costly turnover, and something Georgia certainly cannot afford at this point in this game.
Well, they can't afford to give up easy shots like that in the basketball game where they moved within 11 points of the game, and then their zone defense wasn't very effective.
You can see Coach Georgia has shot the ball statistically better than it did in the first half.
Yeah, a little bit better.
But as you have mentioned, they need to have good shot selection and be a little more patient, though time is becoming of the essence. Price inside. Fouled on the way up, and the crowd thought it was all ball.
Well, in my opinion, Price needs to go up, bank the shot in, and make it instead of that bull stuff of going up there and trying to dunk the basketball so far away you can't. You got to make shots around the basket. I'm hung up on that. You get the basketball around the basket, come out of there with something. You know, they don't give any style points in this game. They give 1 from the line, 2 inside the three-point line, 3 outside, but they don't give any styles. And so many times, players think about style points. I don't like that.
The foul was called on Howard Crawford. You can see that Vincent Williams comes in for Dustin Ware. Price has made 4 in a row at the free throw line. He's 4 of 5 there on the night. 5 in a row. And with the clock not moving, Georgia makes it a single-digit lead for UAB. Tompkins with a steal. But wild pass. Slavaric couldn't hold it. Williams was in the way.
Bad Jeff, you're not going to throw the ball to a 6'10 guy in the middle of the floor, one 6'10 to another. You either hold on to the basketball or you get the basketball to a guard. You're not going to throw it to another big man who can't handle it.
Williams tried to get his hands on it but couldn't. Another three-point effort by Crawford. And it's foul called. 3-point. Trey Tompkins picks up his 4th, and the three-pointer's good. All of a sudden, Georgia tries to get back in, but again, UAB has an answer. 3 and 1 coming. Well, it has been Howard Crawford's night here at UAB. Paul Crane and Wimp Sanderson alongside, and Coach Howard Crawford, his 3rd three-pointer of the second half. He got the roll, and they're trying to figure out who did the foul and where did it come.
Yeah, I think they're going to count the basket and also send somebody to the line. So, I guess the basketball is going to be out of bounds. But he has had a good night shooting the basketball, and about the time Georgia gets back in it, UAB makes a little bit better run.
So the foul called on Georgia. UAB gets the ball back. Johnson inside. Missing the layup is Cameron Moore. Crowd wanted a walk. Doesn't get it. Now does.
You gotta have your pivot foot established. You gotta be still with it. You can't do things that you're not capable of doing. And Georgia's back to the zone defense.
It should be noted that Trey Tompkins is off the floor with 4 fouls. Johnson driving, deflected. Georgia's got the ball. Mayfield has to back up. Nice job by Elijah Millsap to close him off. Under 7 minutes to play here. Price inside and off the glass.
Off the glass, came out with something. Good bounce pass inside, which is I think the best pass to throw to an inside player unless there's a front there. And Georgia did some good things.
11 now for Jeremy Price. Under 6.5 to play.
Mike's team does a nice job of waiting and being patient against the zone as well. His team's looking to get something good.
Sanders for three.
One of the big things you have to understand in zone defense, you got to know where the shooters are. Must know where they are.
And shooters, one of the best ways to break a zone is shoot over it. And Jamar Sanders has 3 3-pointers, 14 points on the night. Williams with a little elbow not called. Jackson, 10 on the shot clock. 4 on the shot clock. Price to the basket, he's fouled. So again, Georgia tries to get something going inside with Jeremy Price.
Well, a good little move inside and use the glass you talked about, and then here's a good outside shot, and defense didn't quite get to him. A good shot against the zone.
Again, UAB with an answer. Foul on Cameron Moore. Count the basket, a goaltending call, but Price misses the opportunity for the three-point play. He's got 13.
And the next foul is going to be 2 free throws for Georgia.
19 fouls on UAB. Millsap with McPhee on him. 5:15 to play in the game. 10 on the shot clock. Inside pass to Cooper. 2 on the shot clock. Crawford. Howard Crawford's night. 19 points for Crawford. And he's had an answer for everything.
Well, he's got to get the basketball, look inside, dribble it inside to side. Pass the ball. Pass the basketball. And cut.
Price to the basket. Misses the dunk. And then called for the foul.
Well, Price goes in again. Doesn't have anything. Doesn't try to use the glass. Tries to dunk it. Comes out with a foul.
Went for the style points instead of the basket.
They don't give any. They don't give any.
Mark Fox brings Price to the bench with 3 fouls. He has been aggressive here in the second half in particular. Trey Tompkins is back on the floor. Again, averaging over 19, but he's got just 4 in the game tonight. Cooper, double team down low, kicks it out. 4:15 to play in the game. And again, UAB patient at the offensive end. Crawford thought about it. Millsap loses the handle. Ware with the dish. Foul on Leslie. He'll go to the line. It looks like it's on Aaron Johnson, his second, if it is. But Howard Crawford has put together one heck of a night. His first 2 years, he averaged under 3 points a game. He has 19 tonight. Paul Crane and Whip Sanderson here in Birmingham, where UAB leads by 15. We talked about Howard Crawford, Coach. He averaged less than 3 points a game his first 2 years, but when you talk about working hard and improving your game, you don't have to look farther than Howard Crawford, who has 19 tonight, and he's done it in many different ways.
Well, he certainly has. Here you see him shooting the baseline jump shot, and he's really playing an excellent basketball game. I came over here to see him practice the other day, and he didn't practice. He was sick, so I hadn't got to see much of him. Nice turnaround shot in there, and he drills a three-point shot after dribble penetration. Good night for him.
He's hit 3 3-pointers. He's got 19 in the game tonight, and as active as he's been at the offensive end, he has yet to shoot a free throw.
Yeah, he's had a good night. I want to comment on this last fast break that Georgia had. We talked about spacing earlier, getting away from each other so you'll have some room, and that applies on the fast break as well. These guys in the outside lanes have got to get wide and make the defense have to make some adjustments defensively, and the middleman with the ball. And you can't get too tight. And I just say that for kids that are trying to play the game, fast break wise, you've got to be spaced.
Well, Travis Leslie, who was fouled before we went to break, has yet to score in the second half, but hits the free throw here. And again, with Georgia trailing, the free throws and the clock not moving become very important shots. Leslie misses the second. And Elijah Millsap. Now Aaron Johnson. UAB taking its time. Coach has talked about patience. We haven't seen it throughout the entire game on either side tonight, but certainly in the last few minutes, Coach, we've seen it from UAB.
Yeah, they are patient with it and eating up some good clock time.
Millsap's 3 no good. Cooper tries to tip, won't go. McPhee with a rebound. Here come the Dogs. Leslie swatted away by Millsap. Ware controls, then loses. Out of bounds. Foul. No foul. It's off of UAB, or it is a foul.
Yeah, they called a foul there. They should have.
And the block, huge block.
Yeah, good block, and then they followed up with a foul.
Foul on Aaron Johnson, his third. So now Dustin Ware shoots free throws. 3 of 5 on the night.
The one thing I know that the coach is going to try to do is get these guards a little bit more under control. They're not under control offensively. They're just like a bull in a china closet. They just need to slow down and to take what the defense gives them. 13
points for Ware on the game tonight. Aaron Johnson driving the length of the floor, then dishing to Howard Crawford, and one.
There comes the situation right there. Really good move by A.J. Good penetration by A.J. You must stop the dribbler, because if you don't, this is what happens. Somebody helps, trying to block the shot. He dishes it off, layup. So you must contain the dribbler. The dribbler leads to a lot of easy shots inside, and the dribbler leads to a lot of three-point shots on the outside.
I mentioned that Crawford hadn't shot a free throw. He misses his first of the night, but he's still got a new career high with 21 points. The foul was called on Chris Barnes. Tompkins for 3, and Leslie with the putback. But again, shot selection question.
Yeah, a little bit. I know he can shoot it outside, but we need to, they need to post him up and get what they can out of him.
And Tompkins with just 4 points on the night. As we approach the 2.5-minute mark of the game. Johnson with McPhee wrapped around him. Millsap's 3 no good. Sanders leaping for the rebound. Looked like he was fouled.
Yeah, he was to the rear a little bit, shoved underneath there, and going to the free throw line.
Dustin Ware picks up his second foul.
Still 1-1 for UAB. 18th foul. We've got a 12-point game, and it doesn't look like Georgia's probably going to be able to work themselves back into this basketball.
Sanders remains perfect at the free throw line, now 6 of 6. He's got 15 points. We'll try to make it 16 here. Nice job at the line by Jamar Sanders. The 7 free throws to go with 3 3-pointers. McPhee has his pocket picked for a moment. The crowd sensing a home opening win as Tompkins gets blocked by Cooper. Williams controls. Offensive foul. Chris Barnes a little too aggressive underneath. He picks up his 3rd. It's another turnover for the Bulldogs, and UAB gets the ball.
A little bit out of sorts there. Got to give UAB some credit for hanging in there defensively, keeping position.
Home opener for the Blazers has been a good one as Elijah Millsap with the exclamation point. His first basket of the second half.
Set up very well, of course, by the great dribble drive.
Sanders with the steal. Cooper with the ball. Millsap. He's got 12.
UAB has really done a great job defensively. They just got Georgia out of sorts. No doubt about it.
Mark Fox calls timeout, and the UAB crowd loves every minute of it.
Well, they're aggressive. They're hard-nosed. They're very active defensively. And, they pretty much disrupted the Georgia offense. Georgia's young and, just trying to get established, but you certainly have to give UAB a lot of credit.
You can see that UAB hasn't beaten an SEC opponent in this building since Gene Bartow's son Murray lost here. But the Blazers are poised to stretch their non-conference home winning streak to 25. Elijah Millsap was quiet for much of the second half, but he's made a lot of noise in the last few seconds. 2 quick baskets, 12 points on the night, and UAB up by 18 with just over a minute to play.
Well, UAB's had good balance offensively. They've AJ's he's run the show and done a good job getting the basketball to the open people, and they played together very well.
We talked about UAB's success in this building non-conference-wise. You can see here's the remaining non-conference schedule before they get into their conference schedule, and they do have an SEC game lurking out there when they play in Fayetteville after the first of the year.
Well, interesting, Troy comes in, Don Maester's team. Don coached for me for a while at Alabama, and he believes in shooting a lot of threes, and so that'll be an interesting basketball game next Tuesday night.
And you saw the East Tennessee State game. That's where Murray Bartow coaches now, December 4th here. It'll be the Gene Bartow Classic, but upcoming for the Georgia Bulldogs. And Mark Fox, you can see he's got some good tests on there. He'll have a Big Ten opponent in mid-December. And Tuesday night, UNC Asheville on CSS December 2nd, and January 5th against Georgia Tech. All those games right here on CSS. UAB on a 6-0 run over the last minute plus, but a little over-aggressive. Aaron Johnson picks up his 4th. And UAB opened this game with a suffocating defense. And here as we approach the final minute